Welcome to Loving Life, a guide to a positive mindset. I'm your host, Lisa. I'm a mindset and energy coach, and each week you'll discover mindset shifts, energy practices, and real life tools to help you feel more confident, calm, and in flow, because you deserve to love the life you're creating. I'm so glad you're here with me. Let's get going on today's episode. Welcome back to Loving Life. Have you ever looked at anyone and thought they seem so confident? The funny thing is, you can appear confident on the outside whilst feeling completely uncomfortable on the inside, constantly wondering if you're saying the right thing, looking the right way, or being enough. So today I want to talk to you about what it really means to be comfortable in your own skin and why I think it's one of the greatest gifts we can give ourselves. Before we go into that, let's take a look and see who had the most amount of downloads last week. Haven't actually checked that yet. So last week, Minneapolis was the top city for downloads, followed by Portland, followed by Oxford, but not Oxford in the UK, Oxford in Michigan. So thank you again for all my US listeners. Thanks for those of you who have reached out and let me know how the last few episodes have helped. I really do appreciate it so much. Wherever you're listening from, keep letting me know what's helping. It just helps me to come up with new episode ideas of what other people need. If you follow me on Instagram or if you listened last week, then you'll know that we went to Switzerland last week. It was lovely. Absolutely thoroughly enjoyed it. It was the first time that the boys had come with us. Like Craig and I have been a couple of times and the boys came with us this time. And this trip has made me realise something. So usually, like when I travel or when I go abroad or when I go to the shops, like I am just in the habit of putting makeup on. And it's only been the last couple of times that I've travelled that I've taken my makeup off to travel. And then I went this whole time, I don't know if you can tell how proud I am of myself, but I went the whole trip without wearing makeup, apart from a little bit of lipstick, because if you know me, I love my bright pink lipstick. It's like my trademark. And it's just made me reflect on how much more comfortable I am in my own skin these days. Like, it might sound a little bit superficial, and I don't mean it in a vain way. I've just always believed that I need to have makeup on, which is actually really sad when you think of it. And if you follow me on Instagram, then I did talk about this on my stories last week. Like, I've noticed that I'm showing up on my stories more without makeup on, like just as I am, and feeling okay about it. And I didn't, like, until now, until thinking back on how I've felt about, feeling like I have to put makeup on to go anywhere. It's just made me realise how uncomfortable I have felt in my own skin, even though I didn't necessarily realise quite how much at the time. Now, you might be totally okay with not wearing any makeup. Like, I know lots of people who never wear any makeup. But I think we probably all have little things that mean that we don't feel comfortable in our own skin. So I just want to have a look and explore some other examples or other ways in your life that you may not feel comfortable in your own skin, and just let me know if anything resonates. But what might not being comfortable in your own skin look like? Because not being comfortable in your own skin, it's not just about confidence or body image or how you look. It's often about feeling like you can't fully be yourself. You can't show up as your true self. So here are some examples. So some social situations that you might find yourself not being comfortable in your own skin. Maybe you rehearse what you're going to say before speaking. Maybe you find yourself worrying because you've said something stupid after the conversation has ended. You might find yourself changing your opinions depending on who you're with. You might feel like everybody else belongs except for you. You might find yourself holding back aspects of your personality because you are afraid of being too much. Some examples in everyday life that you might resonate with: constantly comparing yourself to other women. I know I have done this so many times. Feeling awkward, accepting compliments. Again, that's something I have had to consciously pay attention to. When somebody says to you, "You look nice today," or "I like your dress." "Oh, I only bought it in Tesco," or wherever you bought it. But not accepting compliments, just saying thank you. Needing reassurance that you've done a good job, or overthinking simple decisions because you don't trust yourself. Like that element of self-doubt. Maybe you feel like you are playing a role instead of just being you. And then things around your appearance. So avoiding having your photo taken, feeling self-conscious walking into a room, like feeling like everybody's watching you, thinking that everyone notices your perceived flaws. I say perceived, the ones that you perceive are flaws. People probably don't notice them. And wearing clothes that help you blend in rather than expressing yourself. Wearing makeup because whether you realize it or not, you are hiding behind a mask, or people are less likely to notice the flaws that you see all the time. Like, one of my biggest things has always been, I've always felt the need to wear a little bit of like foundation, or like even a tinted moisturizer, like just to make my complexion a little bit better. And the big one for me is mascara. I've always felt like I guess because I'm quite fair skinned and fair haired, I feel like you can't see my eyes if I haven't got mascara on. And I'm only realising now that's absolutely not the case. Like, it makes me feel ridiculous thinking that I've always felt that, because I guarantee no one's ever looked at me and thought she's got no eyes. And then examples that you might find yourself being uncomfortable in your own skin in relationships. So struggling to say what you really need. Saying yes when you really mean no, so that lack of boundaries. Feeling responsible for everybody else's happiness, and hiding parts of yourself that you are worried won't be accepted. And then at work, in business, feeling like you'll be found out despite being completely capable. A little bit of imposter syndrome, like downplaying your achievements as well. Again, very similar to not being able to accept compliments. You might find yourself hesitating to share your ideas, waiting until everything is perfect before putting yourself out there. And then other things that you might feel internally, like some feeling like you are somehow wrong without being able to explain why. Being your own harshest critic, never quite feeling good enough, even after achieving something, and looking to everybody else for answers instead of trusting your own intuition. Now, I'm sure, like, I've resonated with many of those things that I've either done in the past or still do now to a certain extent. So I'm sure that you've probably resonated with one or more of those things. I'd love to know. And what I find really interesting is that we can often look at other people and they seem so confident on the outside. And you find yourself thinking, I wish I had her confidence. But deep down, they feel uncomfortable on the inside. They might be successful, they might be sociable, they might be organised, and the person that everybody relies on. But internally, they are constantly monitoring themselves, like, am I doing this right? Do people like me? Do people think I'm stupid? I wish I could just relax and be myself. That internal self-monitoring, self-questioning, and self-doubt, that can be exhausting. So what can we do about it? My journey, shall we say, to obviously it's only now that I realise how uncomfortable in my own skin that I've potentially been in the past. And this has been a long journey for me, like what I would call my self-development journey began like 6 years ago, and what began as shadow work with a coach then turned into me seeking out belief coding, because I found all these shadows and all these like insecurities and these limiting beliefs. And I was like, okay, well, that's great. I'm glad I've identified them, but what do I do now and how do I change it? So my journey to feeling more confident in my own skin has been a long one, and it's been like delving into deep subconscious work. It's also involved like breath work, those things, belief coding, breath work. It's helped me see things. It's helped me see visions of myself in ways that I've never imagined before. And eventually that is what I'm sort of becoming, shall we say. And also taking part in every single session that I do in my inner circle. The sessions that I hold for other people, I do myself as well. I do the work. I say this all the time. So it's that gradual change that has led me to this point last week where I've realised that without even realising it, I've gone a whole week, longer than that actually, without wearing any makeup, which has then led me to realise just how uncomfortable I have been in my own skin in the past. Now you're probably thinking, I know I overthink, I know I doubt myself, I know I have all these things, but how do I actually change it? And I'm not suggesting that you jump straight into deep subconscious work like I did, even though that is ultimately what creates the biggest shifts, the biggest changes, the biggest transformations. But you could think of it like climbing a staircase. So I've got some things that I'm going to share with you now, small things that you can bring in day to day and build on them one by one. So number one is to notice. So notice when you are performing. When you notice you're performing, when I say performing, I mean like being somebody that you're not. Ask yourself, who am I trying to be right now? Am I saying this because I mean it, or because I want to be liked or want to control how people perceive me? Another question you could ask yourself is, if I wasn't worried what people thought, would I still make this choice? Awareness changes everything. Awareness is always step number one. And I say this a lot in my inner circle. It's just having the awareness sometimes makes you make the changes, which will lead to the biggest transformations. Number two is to stop trying to eliminate discomfort. And what I mean by this, and this sounds a little bit backwards, but people often think, when I'm confident, then I will do it, whatever that is. When I feel more confident, then I'll stop wearing makeup. Then I will speak up more in meetings. Then I will tell my partner what I really need. But confidence usually comes from doing those things. So feeling awkward doesn't mean you're doing it wrong. It means you are stretching your comfort zone. And it's only when we push ourselves through the comfort zone, pushing through those uncomfortable feelings, that the confidence will come. Number three is keeping tiny promises to yourself. So those tiny promises might be going for the walk you said you would take. It's so easy to find reasons not to do that. Putting your phone away for an hour, speaking up maybe once a week in a meeting, wearing the outfit that you've been saving. Like every promise that you make to yourself is accountability. And that accountability makes such a big difference. And it tells yourself it's another way of telling yourself that you can trust yourself. Number 4 is spending time alone. And this was great for me the other week. When we are constantly around other people, we have got more distractions. We think about other people's needs over our own. When you are on your own, you think about your own needs more, and it's easier to see yourself. When we are constantly around other people, it's easy to lose sight of who we actually are. So I'm not saying to isolate yourself, but make sure you spend time on your own every now and again. Spending time alone lets you rediscover what you enjoy, what your opinions are, what brings you peace and happiness and joy, and who you are when nobody needs anything from you and when nobody is watching you. Number 5 is to stop comparing your day-to-day life to everyone else's highlights. So think of it like Instagram. People only tend to post the good stuff. That's why you can look at somebody else and think they are so confident. I wish I had her confidence. When underneath, she is feeling all the same things that you are feeling. Comparison is our worst enemy. You cannot feel completely settled in yourself whilst constantly comparing yourself against other people's outward projections, how they want the world to see them, because that's not necessarily how they truly feel on the inside. So asking yourself, am I becoming more like the person I want to be? That is the only comparison that really matters. Number 6, finding things that make you feel alive. This kind of links back to spending time on your own. This isn't about being productive. This is about feeling alive. What brings you joy? Is it dancing around in the kitchen? Is it swimming? Is it gardening? Is it painting? Is it walking in nature? Is it going to the gym? Is it listening to music? Like, whenever you are fully present and engrossed in something that you genuinely love, you're not analysing yourself. So make sure you spend more time doing things that make you feel like that. Number 7 is notice your inner voice, your inner dialogue. If your best friend spoke to herself the way that you do, would you let her? We often don't realise how critical we've become of ourselves because we don't necessarily speak it out loud. So notice what you tell yourself, whether that is internal or external. Number 8 is to allow yourself to be seen imperfectly. This one is huge. So wear the outfit, even if you've got a bit of a mum tum. Post the videos if that's something that you want to do. Share the opinion. Ask the questions. Laugh loudly. Snort. The more evidence that your nervous system gets that nothing terrible happens when you allow yourself to be seen imperfectly, the safer it feels to be you comfortably. Number 9 is to understand where it came from. The biggest thing for me has been finding out where all this has come from. The inner work, I cannot explain to you how, like I said, the shadow work helped me see the patterns and the limiting beliefs and the stories that I was telling myself. Belief coding has helped me change them. And do you know what? It's silly, really, because this probably would have happened a lot quicker if I would have actually prioritized working on myself. Like, once I got into doing what I do now, probably would have happened a lot quicker if I would have prioritized myself. But I love helping other people so much that I don't always find time to do it for me. But that it's that gradual coaching myself and doing the things that I do with other people for myself as well that has really led to the, deep changes. Like, I honestly didn't ever think that I've found myself doing recently, like posting not just the odd story and video of me with no makeup, but consistently doing it and not being bothered about it. that's something I never saw myself doing. Breath work has helped me, like, it's such an experience. It takes me to such a wonderful place and helps me visualize myself in a completely different way. And then the inner circle gives me that consistent space where I do the work consistently with my members. And just like they are finding themselves becoming more comfortable, more confident, noticing the gradual changes. I think that's what makes it so amazing, actually, is when it is gradual changes, because you look back all of a sudden and you think, oh my God, how did I get here and when? So yeah, understanding where it came from. I went off on a bit of a tangent then. Understanding where it came from, where it's come from, in whatever way that looks to you. And then finally, remembering that comfort comes from acceptance, not perfection. So most people think things like, I will feel comfortable when I'm prettier, when I've got less wrinkles, when I have lost the weight, when I'm more successful, when I'm more healed. But sometimes the biggest shift is accepting that you don't have to wait until you've fixed everything. So like I said, start with one or two of these things and just build on them over time. You can, of course, dive into the subconscious work to do that. So if you would like to explore any of the things that I've mentioned today, then just drop me a message. But looking back now, looking back to, last week, realizing that I've not worn any makeup. It was never really about the makeup. It was realizing that I actually feel comfortable in my own skin. It was feeling that I don't need to change something. I don't need to be something I'm not, someone I'm not, to feel okay being seen. And don't get me wrong, I love wearing makeup. I absolutely love putting makeup on, doing my hair. It's one of my favourite things to do. And I would probably never stop wearing lipstick. I'm not wearing any at the moment, but wearing my bright pink lipstick is like, just puts a smile on my face. But I also feel comfortable without it. You don't have to stop wearing makeup. You don't have to start wearing makeup. You don't need to change anything on the inside. You don't need to change anything on the outside. And I really want for you to reach a point where you know deep down that who you are is enough before you've fixed anything. Like, yes, we can always make things better, but you are enough. You are amazing. You are lovely. And I want you to know that. So I'm going to end it there. I'd love to know how this has resonated. I'd love to know your thoughts on what you need to be seen. I always thought it was makeup for me, and it turns out that I don't need makeup to be seen. I'm sending you so much love. I can't wait to hear from you, and I will speak to you next week. Bye. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you enjoyed this episode, I'd love it if you could take a moment to subscribe, rate, and if you're listening on Apple, as 95% of you do, review. It really helps the podcast reach more people who are ready to shift their mindset and raise their vibration. And if you know someone who would benefit from today's episode, feel free to share it with them. Until next time, keep loving life and know that I'm sending you so much love.